You ever look up at a stormy sky and see a thundercloud that just, well, it feels kind of brainy. You know,
Yeah.
all those intricate
Oh,
folds.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Or like tracing the veins on a leaf.
Exactly. And noticing how they sort of mirror a river delta. It's uncanny.
And lightning, too. That jagged flash.
It feels so much like tree branches, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And also like neurons firing in our heads.
It really does. That feeling, that suspicion that maybe reality reuses its design.
That nature loves hitting repeat.
Yeah.
If you've felt that, you're definitely in the right place for this deep dive.
Because what you're touching on intuitively points to something pretty fundamental, recursion, and this related idea of cosmic patterning.
Right.
We're basically talking about the chance that the whole universe, all its complexity, might be built from just a few core rules.
And these patterns echo across different scales.
Exactly. Scale's so vast, it's almost, well, hard to wrap your head around.
Okay, recursion. Let's unpack that. The classic example is those Russian nesting dolls, right?
Each one smaller, holding another smaller one inside.
Or like two mirrors facing each other. That endless reflection tunnel.
Yeah, or even that weird feedback loop when you point a webcam at its own monitor.
Sort of unsettling, but it illustrates it perfectly. Loops within loops. The same design repeating inside itself.
And the key thing, based on the sources you shared, is that this isn't just a quirk. It's not a bug.
It seems more like a feature, a design strategy.
It really seems that way. The
It-
sources suggest it's a fundamental strategy, maybe because it's so efficient. There's this underlying resourcefulness,
It makes sense. And you see these repeating patterns, well, everywhere if you look close enough.
like trees.
Yeah, the trunk splits into branches, those branches split again, smaller and smaller.
Or our own blood vessels doing that constant subdivision. It's an incredible network.
Even broccoli. That
Yeah.
head of broccoli is like a fractal explosion, isn't it?
Yes.
The same shape repeating at smaller levels.
It's a great visual.
And it's not just the physical stuff. Your sources mention these patterns pop up in our thoughts, too. Our emotions.
Definitely. And even the structure of galaxies compared to, say, neural networks.
Yeah.
And getting caught in loops of overthinking.
So connecting all this back to the sources.
Hmm.
The goal here, our mission for this deep dive, isn't just listing cool coincidences.
No, not at all. We're trying to explore this pervasive idea of repeating patterns.
To see what it tells us about reality itself.
And maybe, more importantly, what it means for how you experience that reality.
Okay, let's get into nature first. Your sources really emphasize this efficiency angle, how nature uses recursion to build complex things efficiently.
Using simple rules, yeah. Those branching patterns you mentioned, fractals, essentially.
What's so compelling is that efficiency, like you said, it's like nature thinks.
Why invent something totally new?
Right, when I can just remix what already works.
Exactly. That branching pattern, whether it's for nutrients in a leaf, or water in a river system, or a tree reaching for light,
It's solving a similar problem, distribution, connection.
using the same underlying recursive method, it's elegant.
So you zoom in on a branch, you see smaller branches mimicking it. Blood vessels subdivide. Broccoli florets look like mini broccoli heads,
It's this fundamental shape just echoing itself, smaller and smaller, building something complex.
which then makes you wonder, if this design is so common out there, does it apply, in here too?
And the sources seem to strongly suggest yes, it seems to extend beyond the purely physical.
This is where it gets really fascinating for me, this idea that the patterns we see outside are mirrored inside us, like thinking recursively.
Right. How one thought can trigger another and another, leading to these complex webs of ideas.
It's how our minds work, fundamentally.
Absolutely. One idea branches off, sparks an association, sends you down a path. Sometimes that's incredibly productive.
Like brainstorming, creative thinking.
Positive feedback loops, generating insights, solving problems.
We've all been there, right?
Yeah.
3 hours deep in a Wikipedia rabbit hole that started with something totally simple.
Oh, absolutely. The sources kind of poke fun at that, how a simple thought can spiral into these elaborate theories about, I don't know, the secret life of pigeons or something.
Happens to the best of us. And it's not just thoughts, is it? Emotions, too.
Yes. Our emotional lives can be very recursive, feeling anxious about feeling anxious.
Oh, yeah. Or being sad that you're still sad.
Or that loop of feeling guilty because you haven't gotten over feeling guilty. Those feedback loops can really pick up steam.
But crucially, it's not all negative, right? The sources stress that. Recursion is an amplifier.
Exactly. It amplifies whatever you feed it. So gratitude can lead to noticing more things to be grateful for.
Creating a positive cycle, an upward spiral.
So the key seems to be awareness. Redirecting those loops.
Gently guiding the system. Recognizing the pattern gives you some power over it.
Precisely. It's about intention.
Okay, so from broccoli branches to thought branches. Now let's make a huge jump, zooming way out, then way in.
To the cosmos and the microscopic.
Yeah. Your sources talk about these, frankly, mind-boggling similarities between huge galaxies and the neural networks in our own brains.
And it's not just a metaphor, is it? That's what's so striking.
No, the sources say the structural math checks out.
The way matter clumps together on the largest scales, those filaments and clusters of galaxies.
It looks uncannily like the web of neurons and synapses inside our skulls.
It's dizzying, isn't it? The idea that your brain might be wired like the universe.
Or the other way around. That the universe follows rules similar to brain wiring.
It really forces that question the sources pose. Is reality built from some kind of recursive code?
And what does that mean for life? For thought? For time itself?
Huge questions. If the same patterns hold true across such vastly different scales, what does that reveal about, well, everything?
And recursion isn't just out there in the cosmos or deep in physics. It's in our everyday lives, too, like loops.
Right, loops in code, the cycle of a clock.
Or that song you just have to listen to 10 times in a row.
Definitely. Those loops, as the sources explain, are a kind of recursion, and they really shape how we experience things.
Like the chorus in a song. You wait for it, you recognize it.
Or repeated themes in a movie, the beat in a story. They create structure, rhythm. Our brains latch onto them.
And memes. The sources called them wonderfully recursive.
They really are. An idea gets remixed, built upon layer after layer.
Until the original joke is barely visible sometimes, it's cultural echo.
And then you zoom out further in culture, fashion cycles coming back around.
Movie reboots, old slang suddenly being cool again.
It's that whole history repeats itself idea. Same themes, maybe different actors, different tech, but the core loop is there.
Okay, let's zoom out again and further. Your sources get into some really wild physics here. Loop quantum gravity.
Yeah, the idea that space-time isn't smooth, but maybe made of these tiny, tiny interconnected loops.
Like a fabric woven from loops.
Exactly. And the really mind-bending part is that the loops don't just exist in space. They create space. And time, in that model, might also be cyclical somehow. It challenges our whole linear view.
So it's not a smooth road. It's more like a tapestry of vibrating loops.
That's a good way to put it.
And it keeps going. The sources mention particles inside particles.
And that multiverse idea, like nesting dolls, but with black holes maybe containing new universes.
It really feels like it could be loops all the way down and all the way out.
Which brings us to the question, why? What's the significance of all this repetition?
Is it just nature being efficient?
Well, the sources suggest something deeper. Maybe recursion is fundamental to how meaning itself gets made.
How so?
Think about how we learn, how we remember. Repetition helps solidify things.
Right. And we tend to believe ideas we hear echoed back to us.
And our feelings often get stronger through repeated experiences. So the sources suggest we're kind of like meaning-making loops.
Wired to spot rhythms, find truth in repetition.
Something like that. We resonate with patterns.
Which, if we bring it back to our own lives, connects to those. Life spirals the sources mentioned.
Ah, yes. Feeling stuck in a rut, facing the same problems over and over.
Making the same mistakes. It's easy to feel like you're just going in circles, like it's a failure.
But the sources offer a really helpful shift in perspective there. Not all spirals go down.
Some go up. Growth isn't linear.
Exactly. Growth is often recursive. You circle back to the same lessons, but maybe with more perspective this time.
So you might face old pain, but you have new tools now.
Precisely. Or you finally get that piece of advice you've heard a million times. It clicks on a deeper level.
So each loop, even if it feels familiar, isn't quite the same spot.
You could be moving closer to understanding or healing or resolution.
The sources use examples like healing cycling through emotions until they lessen.
Or learning, you revisit things to reinforce them.
And creativity, that's all about iteration, right?
Yeah.
Trying, refining, trying again. A loop.
So next time you feel like you're back at square one.
Maybe pause and consider if it's really the same square one.
Or if you're on a spiral, maybe heading upwards or outwards.
Okay, final zoom out. Beyond us, beyond galaxies. The cyclic universe idea.
The possibility that the cosmos itself is in an infinite loop. Expansion, contraction, repeat.
Meaning the Big Bang wasn't a one-off event.
Possibly just the latest bang in an endless cycle. The implications are just huge.
And black holes. Maybe not just endings.
The sources playfully suggest they could be seeds. Seeds of new universes recursively sprouting from the old ones.
Cosmic reincarnation.
Oh, wow.
And then there's the holographic principle. That's another mind bender.
Truly. The idea that our 3D world might be encoded on a 2D surface, like a cosmic hologram.
And the key is that holograms are recursive, right?
Yes, even a tiny piece contains the whole picture, just fuzzier.
Which echoes that fractal idea again, the part contains the whole.
It all seems to keep circling back, doesn't it? Echoing patterns everywhere, across all scales.
From the tiny to the immense, which leads to that ultimate cosmic maybe.
That there's one universal blueprint, just expressing itself in endless different ways.
And that brings it right back to you, the listener. You are the pattern.
Yes. And that's such a powerful point to land on. We are also recursive, fundamentally.
Our thoughts repeat. We build routines that become loops. Memories cycle back.
Think about a typical day. Wake up, grab the phone,
Instantly feel behind schedule.
maybe procrastinate a bit, feel stressed.
Sleep, wake up, repeat. It's easy to fall into those cycles.
But seeing the pattern isn't about beating yourself up. It's about understanding how these loops form naturally.
And the empowering part is, noticing the loop gives you a choice.
You can interrupt it. You can consciously choose to reroute things.
Like the sources suggest, if you notice an anxiety spiral starting,
You could intentionally shift to, say, a few minutes of meditation, create a different kind of loop.
or a creative block,
Yeah.
maybe it's just a sign to start a new loop of experimenting, trying something different.
Even just journaling regularly can create a space, a recursive playground, as the sources put it, to explore new thoughts and break old patterns.
So intentional, repeated action creatively applied can lead to real change.
Whether it's making art, building habits, healing, finding hope, it starts with awareness.
Noticing your own spirals and asking, am I just stuck?
Or am I, maybe, just maybe, on a slightly different part of the path this time? A slightly better path.
So wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
it seems this idea of recursion, of patterns echoing, is just everywhere.
Woven into nature, our minds, the cosmos, even our daily habits.
And maybe the biggest insight is that understanding the universe, or ourselves, isn't linear either.
It might involve that constant zooming in, zooming out, again and again.
Seeing the same patterns reflected back at different levels.
So as you go about your day, maybe pay attention to those patterns in your own life.
And perhaps, just for fun, whisper, I am a fractal, into the void.
And just listen for the echoes, see what comes back.